My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa. As I say, dick.
Welcome to episode 122 of the Early Legions podcast. And this week we've got some big news to talk about. Mal the Silver Knight 2 is finished at the factory. That's the big news this week.
I mean, that's all the news I've heard this week. Yeah. About anyone else. And I'm really excited about that.
And the book then. And the book will be coming as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the topic for this week. No, Mal, you're a little bit of a celebrity now for the week. Yeah, you got your 15 minutes of fame, or about 3 minutes. I edited it. About 3 minutes. Yeah,
that's all it takes.
It was about 1 minute and something at some point, and then Rich told you to read more slowly.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a team effort. It was a team effort.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Rich did his best. He just talked from the sidelines. You did the work, and I did the cleanup.
Yeah. You made me sound slightly better than I do anyway. So
you're welcome. You're welcome. As we might have mentioned last week, Rich is not here, and we kind of knew that the wave was coming this week because we did the story a couple of weeks ago. Jeremy very kindly asked us, so that was really nice, and we had to keep our mouths shut. Despite I asked for listener questions there a couple of weeks ago, and somebody asked what we think is going to be the rest of the year for Mythics. And our solution to it was to look up what we had said before and just say that again. That seemed to be the clearest. And then Rich had to basically lie and say that he didn't think anything was coming until G-Con, because that's what he had said before.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because we became aware that there was another wave coming, which was a nice surprise to us as well. That's all we knew, and the story, and that's literally it, which is good because it was still a nice surprise.
Absolutely.
Nice surprise. Spoiler. It was still a surprise last night.
Yeah. We knew nothing. We just knew the story, and we knew the date of the wave. We knew nothing else. So it wasn't. We weren't too in on it, but we were in a little bit. But to help us tonight, of course, you might notice them here if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, or Spotify. We have the video version on Spotify as well, if you like that. We have our two more friends from the UK. So Rich could only be replaced by two people this time. It would seem to be the way. We have we have Luke Smith, also known as, you might know him as Hydra Collectibles on YouTube. He has a great little channel there with a few more subscribers than us. How are you, Luke?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. You did something with the Horsemen before, didn't you? So
they sent me some cosmic stuff to do a little review, and it was really great. Jeremy's a great guy, and just I'm very grateful. Really, I done one Mythic Legions video, and the next thing you know, I'm in talks with everyone, and welcome to the community, and it's just been amazing ever since.
It's that kind of a place, isn't it? Yeah. So that's how they get you. That's how they get you. But we had to have a Welshman on the show anyway to keep the balance, to keep the karma. So we got the best Welshman that we know. So we got Gwion.
The upgrade. Sorry, only a bit though.
He's he is a native Welsh speaker. So as much as Rich will tell us he knows a bit of Welsh and he can speak Welsh, etc., etc. I mean, we actually know Gwion can, because he prefers it than English. So that's a real Welsh speaker.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem. Thanks for taking the time. You have a busy weekend coming up. You run a big festival there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. We're already all set up. Oh no, not set up yet. That's to come tomorrow. So, and then the big day on Saturday.
Very good. So what do you have, live music and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, live music, some entertainment around town. We've had a week of events already. So, so we've got bands playing from 1 o'clock until 8. So then there's tidy up afterwards, really, which takes us until about 9, 11 o'clock at night to tidy everything up. So hopefully it doesn't rain.
Hopefully it doesn't rain. Well, that's really wishful thinking in the northwest of Wales.
Yeah, It's no, the forecast doesn't look good right now.
Yeah, we're all sweltering here, and you're looking to see where your winter jacket is.
It's nice.
Very good. Very good. Well, we're going to talk about these figs. So we got the horror of Einsamall. Is that right, Mal? You know how to pronounce it now. Jeremy gave you a little primer before we read the story. I would have just gone straight in and read it, and then I'd have been like afterwards, Jeremy, but you were smart. You said first, Jeremy, how do you pronounce it? And did he send a little video of him?
That was it. Yeah, he did a little video. You know, almost like one of those. If you put it into Google and it is Einsamall.
Very cool. Well, we had some technical problems tonight, so we're using a slightly different recording method. So hopefully it's going to work out for us. Fingers crossed. So we got them up there on the screen. I thought I'd go straight in with the actual figures themselves first. So, you know, you've all watched the Four Horsemen stream. You know, you're not tuning into your legions to find out what they revealed. You know, you're tuning in to see what we think and what you should think. No. So, here they are. They look great. It's an adventuring party. So overall thoughts first. I mean, first impressions. Zook, you happy with what you see here?
I'm very happy with what I see. As I mentioned just briefly before we came on air, this might actually be the first all-in that I actually purchase. You know, I'm very happy with what they've got on offer here. It ticks so many boxes for things that I wanted from this line. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you, Gwion?
Yeah, we'll see if we can afford it, but definitely something I would consider an all-in here again. It ticks all the boxes, then, and it doesn't expand so much on the world as well.
Yeah, put in a bit of overtime there for this weekend. I think you'd be good to go. Mal?
I think it's rubbish. No, no. I again, yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's easily. It's tough, isn't it? Because every wave we're getting at the moment is a winner, and it's another winner, absolute winner.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I love the whole concept of the adventuring party, and the variety that brings, and of course different scale bodies. So now, Gwion, you've got more things you can turn into dwarf-like stuff.
Yeah,
even smaller dwarves or folk,
dwarf children.
Yeah.
So Gwion, you like the dwarf characters? Obviously, are the gnomes as appealing? Is it
the appearance that they've got here? I think it's perfect, and I like. For me, they're very reminiscent of the World of Warcraft design. The big nose. It's. I like when you hit a design so, I don't know, cleanly. It's an iconic look there straight away for me. An easy buy.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get into the figs. So this week with the guys, we're going to talk about the figures themselves. Next week on Rich is back, we'll obviously find out what he thinks about the figures. And you know, Rich will always have the odd controversial opinion or two, as is his want. And we'll do a bit more of the lore, so we won't read the bios tonight. So if you tuned in for Mal reading the bios, that's a week away. Sorry about that. Also, as this is very last minute turnaround, you know, Mal he's still throwing chamomile tea down his neck after reading that story. You know, he had to go out and do it. Like, he had to go so far north to Scotland to find the weather to record it in the swirling winds,
in the snow.
So we got Buris Birgerstori. Or no, Birgerstori, sorry. So I'm after butchering the first name. Brilliant. So this is a little, this we should mention, it's a little tribute to our friend Curtis Ackerman. So Buris is kind of some sort of variation of his name. And Birgerstori, I heard Jeremy say, is kind of Nordic language for, you know, the kind of mayor of the village or whatever, the kind of, you know. Well, you have it on you had it on your bio there earlier, man. You tell us.
I'd put to vote. What was it? Say no to the horror of say no to the horror. Vote Birgerstori 2026, which unfortunately has gone with the way we're recording now. But he is the bio kind of tells you that he's in every. He is the mayor. He's named himself as mayor.
Yeah,
and he's got it. He's got his finger in every pie, basically, in every aspect of the town, which again is a little bit of a tease reference to Curtis, isn't it? There's a bit of a joke about him being on every show, every podcast, so it's a reference to that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, true. And he's got a big beer keg, so he's doing well for himself. Well, he is the innkeeper. So this is an Imp-scale figure. So we'll get to a couple of pictures that shows exactly what that is. But as we were saying, Gwion, small guys, this one has to tick a few boxes for you.
It definitely does. Yeah, just the different scale it provides there. It's just, I was really taken aback when they showed the comparison. It just adds so much depth to the world. I feel personally more than the ogre scale or the larger scales, the troll scale and stuff. So I know you can move it around a lot more. You can have a lot more of them, and they take a lot less space. So win-win.
Absolutely, yeah. And you, Luke?
Yeah, I love this sort of thing.
Yeah.
My concern, I don't know if I missed it during the actual video because I was on my way to work while I was watching it.
Yeah, we're all a little bit like catching bits here and there. I haven't watched the full stream either because obviously it happened overnight for us.
Yeah. So I'm just not sure which pieces are compatible. One of the things that I really like doing with my Mythic Legions, and it's no offense to the Four Horsemen at all, but I don't really follow the lore or the characters. Yeah. I'm currently in the process of writing my own fantasy novel, so I like making my own characters.
Ooh,
so I take a lot of these figures apart. I've got like 230 something figures, and I take them all apart and I rebuild them the way that I want them to be and have them on the shelf. So
you have your characters from your novels and stuff.
Yes, that's the idea. Kind of got them all set up as inspiration, putting them all in poses and the different scenes that I want to create and write about. So it's great for me, all these like what you mentioned about adding so much more depth to the world. Now I've actually got younglings or I've got other random species and characters, but I'm not too sure about which pieces are compatible. I know a lot of people saying about certain heads, and obviously we've got repainted heads here, so you can kind of judge it, you can kind of work out. But again, like this little guy here, would the hoofed feet go on him, for example? I don't know until we receive one.
Gotcha. Melanie steers on that for us.
I can't remember. I did watch the reveal, but it was like 5 o'clock this morning because I woke up early. So I think there were elements that were compatible. So I think the hands are just the normal hands.
Yeah.
The head's going to be a normal head. But I then think there were like the arms and the legs were possibly smaller than we have it so far of anything.
Because again, like even with the Frankenstein's monster, they elongated the torso, didn't they? So there's certain areas where they can take from or add to make different sizes, and I'm just not sure which bits they've done to create these.
I feel like the skirt piece looks like it could be.
Yeah, that could probably work.
Is that possibly the one that comes with the Dwarf Builder set, or is that a new piece?
Yeah.
But so there are bits that are compatible, but I can't remember exactly how much and what.
Yeah. Great paint as usual from the Horseman. We'll get to the Goblin head here. Some beer, which is great. Pickaxe. All the weapons are normal 1.0 weapons. They have said that. There's the front and back view. Yeah, I think that skirt piece has to work on a normal Mythics.
It looks bulkier, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think that foot peg looks the same too, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that does look like
and that head is so good.
Yeah, the paint, the little red nose and everything, the kind of, he owns a bar, so, love it. So this guy is cool. It's a great little way to get another character in here. for people, there's a lot of people in the goblin kind of group for legions as well that love their goblins, and okay, they're not getting a main character goblin here in this wave, but they've got a blue goblin now, an icy goblin, so that's pretty cool, no?
I'll admit, I've got to be honest, it's one of those heads. I think it looks cool as it is, but I probably won't use it. It's not one that I'll be rushing to use. So,
yeah, it depends on many I buy.
Getting it free though. So.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they are trying to put in value, because there is, there's always, even with the dwarfs, there's been a thing of like, oh, they're smaller figures, should they cost less? I think they've given us plenty of stuff here to keep us.
Yeah, I love the barrel accessory, I think.
Yeah,
and then when we talk about one of the other parts we're getting in the wave, it's such a cool, fun thing to get.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so then here's the comparison. So this is a figure we get to. It's the Viking dude. So that's the size. It really is striking how much smaller it is.
For me, the great comparison was actually between the imp and the dwarf. I thought that was the most impressive of.
A bit of a blurred picture from their stream, but
although then when you see him there, it doesn't look like there is much going to be compatible, does it?
No.
The head, maybe.
Yeah, the hands, isn't it? I don't like. The feet themselves look smaller. They look a bit more shallow, don't they?
Yeah. But I think he's great, yeah, and I think that. As we get more of these guys, and we have another of this scale figure in this wave, so the parts will soon start to get into the line, and this is the point maybe where you can start, if there is a bit of compatibility, making even a third scale, between these two sizes with your pop and swaps,
Mm-hmm.
If you could do that, that would be the beauty of the whole thing. And there's the wonderful Trevor Williams with his amazing art, photography. Absolutely fantastic as usual.
Yeah.
These really make the wave. I love now that they lead with as much as Trevor's glamour shots are amazing, they lead with what you get with the figure.
Mm.
So that first picture we had, the same here with this next guy, which is the other Imp-scale. Bylur Frostfurr. So you straight away see, if you buy this figure, here's what you get.
Just to avoid that confusion.
Yeah.
Gonna go that again.
All these, so it's worth mentioning, all these are standard figures so far, these first two, and there's 5 standard figures in the wave, and they're $42 now direct with the Horseman, which I think will still translate to 50 retail.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. So, did they say anything about that? Is that because it was 40, now it's 42? I mean, I know everything's gone up, but...
No, they didn't say why it's gone up at all. They did sort of say that at retail it will still be that extra additional price.
I mean, tariffs for one thing. I mean, if it's just $2, I suppose it's okay.
Costs that they've lost through having to pay tariffs for previous waves.
Yeah. So anyway, Mal, what do we think of this guy?
I think he's great. I'm not specifically a little fox character fan, although I think they're quite cool, but he's very cool. He looks awesome. I love another one I love the accessories with.
You can see Jeremy's influence here in this first two, I think. Yeah. Which is great. I think he's well established now with the Horseman, and I'm happy for him to nudge Eric sometimes in the direction that he wants him, because Eric is like, his sculpts are amazing. And here's another. The head, I love the way it's it's so big on the body that it almost looks like, it's kind of bursting out from the armor. Like it's just fur. Obviously this is solid plastic, but in reality that would be just fur. So of course it would be just kind of squishing it over the edge. It wouldn't be kind of neatly lined up with the armor hole, So I think this is really cool. And Luke, do you like this guy as well?
Yeah, this was the biggest surprise for me. So,
right.
Again, not to harken on too much about it, but with the book that I'm writing, there are three little wolf-like characters. They're actually foxes, but they're like the normal British foxes, like the red fur and all that. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I'll change it. They can be white foxes. But straight away, I know that I want at least 3 of these because it ticks that box for me. I'm like, this is perfect. My kids even went crazy when they saw the little satchel on his back and all the frying pan and everything hanging off it. They were like, "Oh my god, Dad, you got to get it! You got to get it!" And if anything, 3's not enough. I'm gonna need to buy more.
Yeah, it's true. My kids, when I showed them the pictures of the new wave, because they're old enough, they're 10 and 12 now, so they know what's going on, and they always do this thing of like, they'll pick 3 each that's their favorites. So they were like, yeah. So they both wanted this guy. Yeah.
It's tricky though, because my son in particular, he's like, can I have one? And I'm like, yeah, but you're not having my one.
Yeah, exactly. This is important, Yeah, it's always the extras for sure. And Gwion, armor at this scale?
Spot on. I think the dagger gives this the true scale for me of like dagger looks like it's the width of the figure really. So it's a lovely piece, and the armored look just gives us that extra option, doesn't it? Really. So I'm surprised that there's no extra feet, but at the end of the day we can always swap them around, can't we? So it's absolutely fantastic. And as Mal said, the accessories that come with it, just the fire, it's all perfect. It's just part of that world building. Amazing. Definitely more than
something I have to credit Billy Beige with making me aware of from watching his little rundown of it all. I missed it on the reveal, but apparently the little fire thing will sit over one of those little electric tea lights, so it'll you can.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
There'll be a roaring trade in little tea lights.
Yeah.
For the next while.
Selling out on Amazon.
Meg, my wife, is just out of a shot here and she's just gone, that's so clever. So clever.
Yeah, so there you see what you get with it. Obviously you saw it in the other picture, but it's a bit more detail here. You see indeed what Mal was talking about, the little hollow part on the campfire.
I wonder why they've opted to have that flame removable. Do you think we'll get different colours?
Oh yeah. I think they do that as much as they can so that they have the flexibility. Yeah,
some more magical flames sitting on there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
this kind of stuff is where I feel like Figura Obscura has kind of opened this in Mythics, where there's a lot more of these type of things, like the campfire. With if you have the Anubis or the Frankenstein, there's loads of bits with it in any of the Figura Obscuras now, and we're starting to get that kind of stuff in Mythics. Some of it's reused, but some of it, like this, is not. So they've found a way of kind of tooling this stuff up, possibly with when they're doing new parts and they can just always still have space in this metal tool, we could do a little accessory piece like this and use it for a few different things. So very clever. And here's a look on the left here of the Thistlethorn head in white. Looks great at that scale. Because with the goblin body, the Thistlethorn looks really sleek and kind of thin, but it's the same head here, and all that's different is the proportions of the body, and yet he looks like a kind of a chunky dude, Yeah. Even though it's the same head.
I said on our chat we've got because it was also mentioned apparently on the Off-World podcast that this was sort of put in as a little bit of an official tribute to Jesse, isn't it? So which is that's cool. I said on the chat that we've got with those guys that it works for me because I'd had plans to repaint one of the Thistlethorn head sculpts white and put it alongside the custom Santa I'd done and make it as Santa's little helper. So now with this scale and that head, and I'll probably use the other body with that head and the feet, and I've got easy, quick, when we get them, Santa's little helper.
I wonder if that neck piece works on the Thistlethorn head as well, and how that looks.
Trying that,
Yeah, it would be interesting to see it. And look at the tail. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How cute is that?
What I like about that back, like the shot from the back as well, is how the soft goods, it looks like chainmail from the back.
Yeah.
And I've wanted chainmail soft goods kind of things for ages, and it's not the right scale, but I'll take it.
It's an indication for the future, you know. Yeah. So he's great. There's the beautiful Trevor Williams shot.
So good.
Yeah. He's got the tea light out there, doesn't he? Or some sort of a light. I'm sure Trevor has. He's a photographer. He has all sorts of LEDs. I still want to get that thing Trevor has for doing the smoke. Remember he showed us? Yeah, when we were doing the not the G-Con, intern thing last year, we went to Trevor's photo demo, and he had this little smoke machine thing. It was almost like a vape thing, but you didn't sucking it like a vape, you just press the button and the smoke came out of it, and it just he had the skeleton, you know, it was like the Silver Knight 2 skeleton picture, you know that one, but it was just with two skeletons, same dio, and he was showing us, and he kind of blasts in this smoke and it all goes kind of down onto the ground and then kind of goes around and up, and just amazing. And he said, yeah, this is a little gadget, costs, I don't know if it costs $100 or something, which, you know, you have to have a use for it if you're buying it for that, but it's so cool. Yeah, so moving on to the big fella, Garmyr. So werewolf, I think Rich was shouting from the rooftops for this, Mal.
He was. It's been calling for a werewolf for a very long time. Oddly.
And we get one in ogre scale. So that was interesting. We were all maybe predicting they were going to do it on the Book of the Windalgi, the Cackler. But they've gone further here to make him even scarier, because he is the monster of this wave. So he's on ogre scale. And what do we think of this, guys? Luke?
Yeah, another great one, like knocking it out of the park. I would like to have seen something that could go down onto all fours as well. You know, and I'm not sure how that would quite work with the armored pieces that you're kind of forced to keep. But yeah, I mean, he looks great as is. You know, the fact that he's got all the chains, that he's clearly escaped from somewhere. Like, it's a great piece. You know, I was very surprised by how big he was. I was not expecting ogre scale. I thought maybe brute scale, maybe just regular. You know, I was not expecting such a behemoth, but I'm glad he's in there. I'm not going to shy away from it. It's a great figure. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, Gwion.
It turns out that the Nameless Horror has a name then, doesn't it? Fantastic piece. I like.
Gotta put something in the box, you know.
Yeah, wouldn't work well otherwise. But I like the kind of vampire-esque armor that he's got going on. The belt buckle and all of it. As Luke said, it looks like he's escaped from somewhere, and I know the bio alludes to that as well. But oh man, he's the centerpiece for a reason, isn't he? And I love the obsidian sword as well.
Yeah, sword is fantastic. Yeah, I was putting these few pictures together earlier this evening, and I did text Rich and Mal and go, I just realised there's a vampire on the belt buckle. You know, because it's been such a short time, and obviously having not watched the whole stream, you don't get every single detail, and so you're looking at the pictures, and you see the vampire. I'm looking at, I'm always looking at the paint job, so I'm looking at all the shading on the head and everything. It's amazing. And then you don't realize it's obviously a new sculpted piece, but it looks like Varg almost.
It does
look like Varg. Yeah.
One of the things. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you go, Luke.
I was just going to say, one of the things that my kids kind of scarily warned me about was, Daddy, what are you going to do when that one falls off the shelf? Because it would just take out everything that's beneath it.
Which is kind of its MO anyway.
It is, yeah.
Maybe use a figure stand with this one then,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, or so some people do this where they put little bits of fishing line across their shelf, and you can't see it really unless you're really close. And so then when the figures take a dive, they just kind of fall into the wire, and that holds it up. Little tip for you there. Yeah, so this this sword is amazing. You're right, Gwion. It almost has this translucent vibe, Mal.
Yeah, it's meant to look like obsidian. It's got obsidian blade. Did you hear the sort of the story behind that? That was originally designed by Nate Barch to go with the Noble Barch set.
And
they decided not to include it there. So yeah.
Right. So that often happens, though. What that they obviously, they're creative people, so they have a lot of ideas, and obviously they have to cut things out because of costs and getting the figure into the cost bracket. But they always find a way eventually of getting the stuff out if it's cool enough. And I suppose this is another example here. And as painter, Gwion, this wolf head, I mean, fantastic.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's just, even the hands, the fur on the hands, and it's just little things like that where there's just so much detail there. And like you said, the shading on the face, all of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they might have said on the stream who painted who. They don't always. But yeah, fantastic job here for Horsemen and their painters. Then you get a little look of kind of, I don't know how much of a prototype this is, whether I'm sure it's just resin, so you can't really do too much with it pose-wise, so Trevor got it in a little bit of a kind of a snarling pose there. I'm sure you can do even better with the production piece, not that this is bad or anything. And then you get a look at the back. I love the kind of hunch that the shoulders have when you can see it from the back of the figure. That's just fantastic. It really gives a impression like a werewolf, even at this scale. I know that you and Rich were open for skinnier body, maybe, Mal?
Hoping for is possibly exact. Just kind of in my head, I just assumed it would be the Windadgy, the Cackler body, because that looked so much like a werewolf. And I think, to be honest, the way they've described this as the Fenrirkin, and they've left themselves open to be able to do different types of werewolf, I think, there, haven't they? So, but yeah, he looks fantastic, doesn't he? I do like that. Of the ogre scale bodies, I think this is the best one, because when we saw it on Laodicius, which is the one it is, or at least a chunk of it is, it's just fantastic, isn't it?
Really great, yeah. And
it's actually, I think, as for a horseman figure, it's quite. Horrific's not the word I'm really meaning, but horror. There's a very, very big horror element, especially with that muzzle that he's got, and the picture Trevor's taken with that muzzle on. It's pretty, scary.
Yeah.
It's a great use of those shackle pieces as well.
Yeah.
Like coming originally, I think, from that cosmic figure, right?
That's it, Kragnar.
Kragnar, yeah.
The armor looks like it's meant to contain him, and if he were to transform, it's to punish him for that. You've got the jagged spikes that are almost pointing in. Like, for me, it's there to stop him from transforming rather than protecting him after he's done so.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and I love this blue. I have a paint that's called Payne's Grey. And it's this type of blue, and it's my favorite paint to use for something. You don't always have you can't paint everything that color, but I love it. Like, I did a custom last year, and I was like, what'll I paint the armor? And I was just like, I love this paint. I'm going to do this paint, and then just do a little few armor, like silver chips on it, so you show that it is still metal underneath. And it works great. And obviously the horsemen have done awesome job here. It works so well with the grey of the wolf,
And another sort of unusual aspect that you don't see in Legions sculpts and designs very often is the arm has got battle damage on it, which is, again, just adds to the figure.
It does, and it kind of, I suppose he could reuse it, but it makes it less reusable. And pauldrons here also. They've really upped their game on the pauldrons the last couple of waves. You know, the last ones we got in hand with Necronominus and All-Star 6, some of the pauldrons there are very ornate, and you get the kind of other side of it here with the kind of evil character. But does he make a good big bad for this story, Luke?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Gwion, would this be something that would find its way to your shelves normally if you could
Probably,
break it out? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. And there you go, Trevor. Just so much atmosphere in that photo. Yeah. Love it. Okay. On to a Viking, or Viking-like for sure. Halvard of Frothvar. So this was the first figure that they revealed. And he's just a cool 1.0 figure, isn't he?
Yes.
You know, he's my type of figure. You know, if I was to get a figure, I just love this type of guy. You know, if you think of, I mean, Dubán looks a bit plain now when you see him because of all he has. But like, I love Dubán. I love that type of a figure. And this is just another up that ups the game even more. I mean, the face sculpt is incredible. You know, if you've watched any of these Vikings shows on, you know, Netflix now that they have or anything, you know, he's one of those guys, isn't he? Gwion, strikes me this would be also your type.
It definitely is. I like the minimalist look to it, the almost historically accurate look, the little kind of pin on the cloak. It's all of it. You know what I mean? I think having those less armored characters for me is just, I love it. Like you mentioned Dubán and stuff, but he's still lightly armored, even if, you know what I mean, if anything. But yeah, the helmet with the chainmail down the face, all of it is just, yeah, there's so much potential just in this one figure alone. All the parts that it comes with, just, you can, yeah. Oh, I love it. I'd love it now. I got, yeah. You know, I have to wait.
You're doing, you know, you're doing your bunch of customs that you've been doing over the past while, and I think this guy would provide, it would solve a lot of problems for you.
Oh, he would for sure.
And plus, you'd have to have one on the shelf because I think he's that good of a figure.
Yeah.
And Luke, is there characters like this in your?
Very much so, yeah. So again, that's the beauty of like writing this sort of thing, is that the world is a very big place, much like Mythos itself. You know, you can just keep going with it. And the minute I saw this, you know, like you said, this was the first figure that they showed, and straight away I knew we were onto a winner. I knew that this wave was going to be incredible because those soft goods, that cape, it just ticks so many boxes. I can't believe this is just a standard figure. Yeah. Like, it blows my mind. Yeah. And he's kind of got, I don't know if any of you are into your Masters of the Universe, but he's got that kind of Man-at-Arms Duncan look to him, particularly from the front there. Obviously, he's got the ponytail at the back, so not so much. But
maybe 2000X Duncan.
Yeah.
He's got the ponytail thing, so yeah. Yeah, he's got the horn as well. Did that come with the Dwarf 2-pack, as anyone remember?
Yeah, that's the one in there.
Yeah, so probably a repaint of that. Love the shield as well. I mean, just classic Viking looking shield, you know. And so there's all the bits you get.
Talking of the shield, we should mention the new adapter that they've created for it, where so you can have it mounted more on the forearm. So the normal shield handle plugs into one of those smaller sockets at the front, so you can have it whichever way, whichever side you want it, and then he holds it like he would, and it sits against his arm. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So presumably that accessory could be used on other shields, right? Or is it only for these shields?
No, it can be used on all but the turtle shell shield because of the way it's constructed.
Awesome.
Yeah, it makes it sit further back on their arm rather than like in their hand, as most of them do now.
So here's the two main looks you get. So as you see, it's just a different head really there, and figure without the cloak as well there on the right side with the chainmail mask.
I like when they do stuff like this because I like kind of having trios. I like having like the hero in the center and then these two like lackeys kind of behind him, and this is like the perfect sort of army building type setup. And
it's great for them as well, because then they automatically sell 3. To us, to the suckers like us, that like to do that little display. And the boots here are fantastic. Just so much character just to them, with the paint and everything.
I love the fact we're getting those sort of barbarian style boots. They're my, to me, they're fantasy. You
mentioned
reading stuff where people in my head were wearing those boots.
You mentioned Duban earlier. I'm wondering if that cloak is a similar colour match to the hooded head. I'm wondering if that cloak could work with that head.
That could possibly, yeah. Wouldn't put it past them.
Because again, much like yourself, Duban is one of my favourites. I would love an unhooded head sculpt of it. I've had a few people telling me that Magnus is very similar, but even when I hold them up, I don't quite see it.
It's not quite, no. I find Duban is more square beard, Yeah, a beautiful shot here again from Trevor. I mean, never get bored of saying that. Could be from, very high quality video game or, even a movie if we're to stretch it that far. But look at that. Just so much atmosphere. Yeah. And then we got female figures. So there's lots of people that are always looking for cool female figures in the line, which I understand. And I get the impression that they don't sell as well. So that's why they get kind of sprinkled more through the line. But this one looks like a banger to me, to be honest. It looks great. You're kind of up there with the knights on the Necronominous wave. So this is Commander Igraine, and she's from the Order of Etheron. So this is one of the only characters in this wave that actually is from a faction that we know of already. A lot of them are kind of from this northern crew.
We should have said that Halvard was from the House of the Noble Bear.
Yeah, exactly.
When he dogs
Viking, yeah. So I'm sure under the soft goods he has a bare torso. Say it so, Jeremy. Say it so. So, I think female knights. Mal, what do we think here?
So, I think she's fantastic. I think she's going to be one of the best.
A new female head sculpt as well, not using the Thrace head again. So, well done, Horseman.
And it's interesting because I saw someone comment that she had an anime vibe, and when I saw her, the first thing that came to mind was a lot of the customs we see coming out of, is it Thailand?
Those guys.
You will often see their just something to do with the colours and the way they'd put the soft goods together, and that the head, and she's almost got a bit of an anime style head. Not quite, it's a bit more serious, for want of a better word than that, but there's vibes of it. So I think she's fantastic.
Yeah. See it a bit maybe, but well, guys, Luke, are you into the females characters?
I am very much into the females. No, this is a beautiful figure. That additional head sculpt, I'm wondering, that's not on like the plate system, is it? That's more like the lady. What was the?
Lady
Averona. That's more like that sort of head sculpt, right? Where that's actually built into there.
I think so, yeah. I don't remember them saying anything about it being a plate.
Yeah. And the accessories are amazing. Like that torch is brilliant. Like I love the idea of if we could get a pack of those, just so you can give them to other characters.
Yeah. So that did. I remember that coming with the Dwarf 2-pack, so we get it again here. But as you say, the more the merrier. Another option to get that, and not in a 2-pack. So that's pretty cool. Gwion, fan of this one?
Yeah, I am. I think, like Mal said, the face for me, it's not a bad face. It all just throws me a bit in the style. It doesn't feel like a very Legion style or traditional Legion style face sculpt. Reminds me lots of Attila the Battle Angel look, kind of the larger eyes, but the body probably I'd say the best of the whole wave, to be honest.
Right.
Use of parts, all of it. I just think it's fantastic, and I absolutely love the sword that she comes with.
It's a big-ass sword, isn't it?
It's fantastic piece, and a real army builder as well, I think.
Yeah, you could do the helmet down, visor down.
Yeah.
Well, again, like even with those head packs that we're getting from the cosmic stuff, those female head packs, they're brilliant on this body.
Oh, good shout. Yeah. Oh my dear. this could be a problem. Yeah, so bunch of her, be great. And leather boots, I love that. I mean, which makes sense. You're up the north in the snow. You're not going to be going with your armored boots. So pauldrons here in U2. Great to see the female figures get those sort of parts upgraded. And the torso's new, Mal?
It's she's basically got the same build as Thingy Cinderhorn.
Oh yes. Manisha
Cinderhorn, but then with a lot of extra cloth goods. It's like a different waist piece, and but she looks fantastic.
Awesome.
That's it.
And that's cheeky there with the little flame shadow on the sword. That looks great, doesn't it? Now, folks, the sword is not painted like that. So, don't be sad. That's just photography and reflections. The same way if you look at the light reflecting on her face, that's not how it's painted. So, but yeah, she looks great. I mean, that's such a good photograph when you see that kind of stuff, In your dreams, you'd be doing photos like that. And then, I'm not the only one, but I did reckon we might get a reuse of the bear, and we did. Polar bear Isbjorn. So interesting thing here is there is a new head. So this head is new. Otherwise, it's a Bodvar build, but I think it's cool. Why not? Get reuse of that bear. Makes sense. Probably the only type of wave you're going to get a polar bear in. So you see him there. The long neck kind of works for polar bear. So would you buy this if it wasn't in the all-in, Mal?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would as well.
I think I actually prefer that head sculpt to the one that comes on Bodvar. As much as I love Bodvar and the role he plays in the world, I think I quite like the polar bear head sculpt. I think I really like and prefer the polar bear head sculpt.
Right. Well, you put the screaming head sculpt on Bodvar then, and you're fine.
Yeah, indeed.
And boys, were you excited to see this?
Yeah. I've got Bodvar. I went for the all-in on the Rising Suns wave, so I'm not going to say no to another bear. I'm just looking now at the head. Would the Garmyr head work on that, the joint? No, I don't know.
Don't think so. Well, maybe. If it's done like Kragnar, possibly, yeah.
And it would be an overweight werewolf on all fours, but
I've seen weirder customs, let's be honest.
So, yeah, it is nice. It's nice to have that extra option. Like I said, the new head and all of it. It is nice.
And Luke, I assume the kids were all over this one.
No, it was mostly me. Yeah. So I've dabbled with Mythic Legions for a long while, buying like the odd figure here or there. Yeah. But I really went all in the minute that I saw Bodvar the bear. Like, I love bears. I think they're amazing creatures. And for anyone with eagle eyes, you can probably see a polar bear above my head right there.
Right, I did see it, yeah.
So the minute that this was announced, I had my suspicions also. I was like, this is the perfect time to do that repaint.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I did hold off, because I was actually looking to get a second Bodvar just so that I could repaint it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I held off because I'd rather have the work of the horseman. But yeah, absolutely amazing. You know, I'm a big fan of the Philip Pullman books, these Dark Materials and all that lot, and you know, the Armored Bear and everything. I've just always loved polar bears, so this is a must-have for me. This is like probably the biggest selling point of me buying the all-in.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Yeah, so I love him. It's probably one and done for me with him, but yeah, still happy to get him. Here's a little picture where you see the difference between him and Frothvar. So it is the head.
It does make a big difference, though. When you're looking at them there side by side, it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Looks like it's sort of slightly smaller, doesn't it? So the neck looks a bit longer and it's posed. But
and at any point they could do other heads. Like you could end up with an owl bear at some point. Like they could just create something that just goes along with this, much like the Cosmic Head Pack, and you just go bam. There's another creature for your collection.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? And even the paint job makes a difference for the saddle. You know, you're having to look quite hard there to see if they're the same. You know, okay, the overall shape's the same, but I'm looking at the details here, and you're like, oh yeah, it is the same, but it still looks quite different. And as you see with this, the way I've lined up this picture, I initially lined it up differently, and it didn't look quite right. So I don't know if you can guess which way it lined up originally. Maybe on the same level.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the attention to detail we pay to here at the Legions podcast, you know. I didn't want to. Now, it was most likely if Rich was on, he was going to make that joke. So, you know, let's be honest. Although I wouldn't put it past you, man, as well. So
scandalous, as if I would do a thing like that.
As if they'd bring the tone down.
No, me never.
So they are throwing in the Frothvar screaming head with him. Why not? You know, you don't have to use it, but great to have an option. And I think this head does look just a little bit thinner anyway because of the open mouth, so could work. I'll definitely give it a try. But I think in a battle scene, you know, especially if you're setting up to take a picture, it's going to look great. You know, with that bear on the two legs, the hind legs kind of up. Right, so we're giving a big thumbs up to the bear, to Isbjorn. There he is, look at there.
That's an interesting pose.
It is, yeah. You could put that to some sort of weird 90s dance music and
he looks like he's asking for a
change
fist
the vibe. Yeah. Yeah, but he doesn't want to hurt you, so he's kind of curled his claws back in a little bit. But yeah, fantastic. And here he is.
Another
in an environment shot. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And he has to carry around one of the other guys, and it's this guy.
Yeah.
The Jackal Ironbones. So initially, I'm looking at the pictures just this morning without going through the whole stream. I thought this guy was a brute scale, but he's not. He's based on the 3.0 build system. So he's basically a 1.0 from the waist down, and from the waist up, he's this new 3.0 body, which means that the torso is new because the 3.0 body is on the Windagi the Cackler. So the torso, the upper arms are new. So they've got the butterfly joints, all that kind of stuff. So you see here on this picture here on the right, the bear picture, you see the butterfly joints here, and you see the kind of extra articulation, the elbows and stuff.
Jointed elbows.
And also he has this cut here in the middle of the torso. So that's going to be nice to have. But here's all the stuff you get. You get some great bone weapons here. Always love to see them. Which matches with the pauldrons. These pauldrons reused from Tarnog, Mal? Or?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Great. So an orc. Luke, are you into the orcs?
So this is the only one that I wasn't over the moon with. Like, it's not a bad figure at all, but out of all of them, it was the only one that I was kind of like, okay, maybe. Like, I can see me stripping it down for parts and possibly repainting the body to a different color. But it's not to say that it's a bad figure. It's just, given what we have been shown and what we've already have in this wave, it's my least favorite. Something's got to be in last place. I too, like you, when I first saw it, I thought it was much bigger. I thought this was ogre scale. I thought this was going to be a giant of a figure. And then when they said, he rides the bear, I was like, oh, okay, maybe not. But yeah, it's a fine enough figure. It's just, out of all of them, this one's not really my cup of tea.
I think that's fair. I only briefly was on the Cabal today. I could kind of see that people were least enthused about this one, which is, I can understand it, but on another level, I think a couple of years ago we'd have been all over this. I think it's just a little bit how the line has gone. I still think he's great. I love that head sculpt that he comes with. You can see it a bit better here with this kind of more close-up picture of it, and it really is kind of mental looking, and those horns. So that second head is the kind of standard orc in helmet head, but when you plug in those helmet attachments to it, it makes a big difference. You can see here in this. I mean, to be fair as well, like I say, I'm going to go for an all-in regardless. And when I bought the Necronominus wave, Sir Alderic, I thought I would have no interest in, but here he is now, and I've bought 3 of them. I think it's amazing, especially with a quick, pop and swap of a different head. He just looks fantastic. So I can't wait to be surprised in a couple of years' time when we actually receive it, and it could end up being, I could be eating my own words, and it could be one of my favorites. True. Gwion, what do we think?
Fantastic parts. I really like the not the belt piece, but the lower armor really around the legs. How you've got a mix of plates and leather pieces. I think that's a nice addition. And it being that 1.0 compatibility as well, I think is fantastic. I think I'd have really liked to have seen an armored torso, to be honest, but I know that it's that new scale. I think if it had an armored torso, I think it would have been a very, very different figure. I just think that would have made it kind of its stock rise a bit, in the sense that it would have been a more widely desirable figure, maybe. But I'm not against it at all. I really, really like it. I think it's nice.
And Mal?
I think he's probably going to be my favourite of the orcs. I think he probably is. But it's, again, I'm a little bit like Luke here. I'm not. I don't know. Orcs don't seem to do it for me as much as some of the other figures. But I think so. He is probably my least favourite in the wave. But as I say, I think he's going to be alongside Tharnog, he's going to be my favourite of the orcs, I'm sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like him a lot.
I agree with you on that head sculpt, by the way. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah. These little parts above the boots, between the boots and the upper legs, fantastic. Great to have those. Yeah. We'll definitely find uses for them. And reusing some Tharnog parts, definitely a good idea. So there's the glamour shot there from Trevor.
Such a good picture.
That kind of gives you an idea of what type of character he is,
But in that picture, I can imagine him being a giant and like a little man just walking up to him and him being sitting on that throne. Like, he just looks so much bigger than I know that he is.
Yeah, I got you.
It's funny because when they showed that, I couldn't really see I was watching it on my phone to start with.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see the leg, and I thought it was some kind of, at least, brute scale skeleton of some sort.
Yeah.
Because of all the bone bits and all that. Yeah. But he does look huge in that picture.
He does, yeah. And then finally, last but not least, We got the Einsamall Public House accessory pack. Is that what it's called?
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So barrel.
Small inn.
Einsamall Inn accessory pack, right? He's got a barrel with this nice imprint of that on it. He's got the 4 beer glasses with their little foam pieces that go on top, apparently, and 2 of them are different to the ones you get with Buris. And we get the frying pan again here, and we get sausages, which was a George Gaspar special request, apparently. If you know the Purple Gang and Gaspar sausages, then this is what that is nodding at, I think.
I love the fact that an in-joke has made it into the storyline. It's so funny.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's an in-joke involving somebody in the studio, so
Well, yeah. It's
still a spectacular paint job on the sausages, I have to say. They look tasty. I'm getting hungry looking at them. That's the best sign. Equally so on the apples. Pretty sure we got apples with one of the figure obscuras.
Ganesh, I believe.
Ganesha, that's right. Yeah.
We got the grapes with him, didn't we?
Yeah. So, yeah, those are little pieces that they can always reuse on stuff like this. So, absolutely perfect.
That was quite good that plate on the top of the barrel actually is a separate piece that is kept in place by the plug.
Gotcha.
The tap, so you could have just a plain barrel as well.
There you go, and you see it there on the glamour shot. Einsamall. I see inn and public house. There you go. That's where I got the public house from.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you weren't wrong.
And Wolfsbane Lager.
Yeah. Getting thirsty now. Gwion, you love all this style stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's one thing that I think is a fantastic legacy for Cosmic Legions is these accessories, really, and just the story pieces that come with them. So I can imagine that people are going to buy a lot of these for dios and stuff. And the amount of 3D printers that have been selling steins and cups and stuff before, they might not be selling as much of them now after this.
No, but the dio makers will be selling the little the places that you can put them in. So
yeah.
Give it one hand, take with the other.
I just think it's a shame that there's no salad cream with it, to be honest, John.
We're not having this. So I'm visiting Gwion on my holidays over the next month or so, and he's trying to get me to get back into salad cream, and I've told him salad cream is a very British condiment. It's basically like mayonnaise with what? With
tang.
With more zip to it. I mean, like over in continental Europe here, we have mayonnaise with a bit of lemon juice in it. That's kind of as close as they'll get to. Anyway, it's disgusting stuff. So it won't be happening.
They can't replicate in continental Europe. It's just they try with mayonnaise and lemons. It just doesn't work.
Look, I'm sure you don't support me on the salad cream point, but do you like the dio stuff?
I love it. Yeah.
So with the dio stuff, like I've been dabbling with dios for a while now, and I love building scenes. My problem is that I don't know how much is enough. So I'm going to have to be placing the order, and I know I'm going to end up with more than what I need.
Yeah.
But there are worse things. What's wrong with having a little extra?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And these are the kind of things, like the heads packs hang around a little bit at retail. This will probably hang around at retail. So, and this one, worth noting, $25 for this. Yeah. So slightly different price point.
To me.
Feels about right, yeah. Even getting the little pickaxe as well, so you get a weapon too, which makes sense with the whole thing.
A frying pan can be a weapon.
Yeah. Sure it could be. I'm sure there's many a transgressing husband that has
and I think
found that out.
The backpack that came with the little fox guy, I'll remember his name eventually. It's got a little hook on it. I know he comes with a frying pan, but I think you can hang. Yeah. I'm guessing you can hang the frying pan on that hook on his backpack.
Yeah. Oh, on the back. Oh, the backpack hook. Yeah. That's because the frying pan has a little hole. absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's your lot. So there we are. We're back. Excellent. So that's the wave. I think by the sounds of it, we're all in. Unfortunately, again.
As I said to you guys before we started, I've already put a small order in, just like 3 figures to get, just so it was below like the threshold of, the tax and all that. I got 2 Buris and 1. I can't remember his name. The little fox guy. Because I need loads of those little fellas. I need loads of them.
Well, this is the thing as well. Like, so obviously I want to do an all-in, but not only do I want it to place all the extras with it, which will build it up too much, but also I don't want the horseman to hold on to it for too long, waiting to add the other additional items. I'd rather do that order separately and then order whatever else I need that can follow later.
I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
The second way.
Yeah. So the little fox guy is Bylur Frostfurr. Come on, man.
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. People can forgive us this time. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we had some technical issues, but we got to it, and it was absolutely fantastic to have you on for this little run through of the wave. These are normally quite popular episodes with the listeners/watchers, so hopefully lots of them will get to see you and go visit your Instagram pages. Honed Axe is for you, Gwion. Hydra Collectibles on YouTube and Instagram for you, Luke.
Yeah.
So awesome. There we go. See, Rich, you're replaceable.
Suppose I should say stay safe, everybody.